So, the day has finally come. CinemaSins has decided to send my favorite animated movie, favorite movie in general of 2023.
Don't take it personally. Oh, hell no!
I knew this had to happen eventually, and given how much I've talked about Ruby Gillman, of course this was gonna pop up on my radar in an instant. Now, I haven't seen the video yet, but knowing this channel, they will probably completely misunderstand this movie for children, and I can guarantee you that my overall perception of this film will not change for the worse after I watch this video for two big reasons. One, people have already talked negatively at length about this generally well-received movie, and that hasn't shaken my opinion, so I doubt CinemaSins of all channels would be any better. Two, because I understand this movie by heart, I recognize what few flaws I think it does have, and can make a much more comprehensive critique than someone who doesn't care about the movie. What I'm saying is that sometimes the best people to explain what's wrong with something are those who love it the most. Because while there are a few things that I'd change about Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, I think that the concept has a lot of potential. When I made my first Ruby Gillman video, I didn't spend all 16 minutes talking about what was wrong with the movie. My critiques were dispersed across that time and may have collectively accounted for 2 minutes, probably less, and that wouldn't have made for a substantial video on its own. But getting back to the topic at hand, I want to see for myself just how low someone could possibly take an argument about this movie being bad and defend it with my perspective being a fan. Unfortunately, I do not have the time to do a full Birdman-style video where I send CinemaSins back, but I might do that in the future if you guys are interested. Unless the Birdman would be willing to, but I doubt he'd be interested in this movie. Plus, I don't know if he'd be fine with me stealing his entire style. For now, I'll just do a quick pass and find some of the bigger issues, especially if they relate to what I've said before in my other Ruby Gillman videos. So, let's get to it.
Junior prom is the sacred right of every human teenager.
This expositional dump is all about how important society thinks junior prom is, which is an outstanding waste of animation considering the next 20 minutes are dedicated to exactly the same bullshit.
The movie doesn't exclusively focus on the prom during those 20 minutes, but even still, it kickstarts the plot of the film by leading to the scene where Ruby falls into the ocean and becomes a giant kraken, and it also sets up the final battle later.
Listen, the animation style in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was refreshingly unique and freaking gorgeous, but don't push your f***ing luck, DreamWorks.
I do agree that animation studios should not push the whole stylized trend thing started with Spider-Verse, but this isn't animation right here. This is live action of the Puss in Boots plush toy. Besides, this movie isn't stylized like those other movies.
This is a make or break moment. I'm selling an entire development.
But Mom,
You're what? Already successful? Already good at your job? Passionate? Aggressively warrior-esque? And shouldn't have a party? This movie is so vague I genuinely have no idea what the writers intended me to assume.
You are literally talking over the footage of Agatha explaining who she is.
Unless there's a tragic accident.
Giving so few fucks about your movie that your side characters' entire backgrounds are just has colorful hair, likes to game, and is Wednesday Addams.
While I do think that these characters could have been done better, Margot's background is not that she has colorful hair, it's that she's a drama student. And all three of these characters actually have colored hair.
I spot little Mr. Skater Boy here.
His skateboard sank into the water. How did she know he was a skater? I mean, he is, but she couldn't have known that.
She's a mermaid. She was probably in the water when that happened.
She's coming for me!
This guy's first instinct is to record himself rather than visual proof that a massive kraken exists.
But he did. Arthur even says later that Gordon got Ruby on video.
Why wouldn't I be?
I just hit you with a car.
I guess Brill probably used some fishy instincts to find Agatha.
Brill says later that he and Grandmama felt Ruby's pulse. That's how they knew that she was in Oceanside. You even skip over that scene for the next sin.
you mean Clarence J. Whifferton?
How could I forget?
Probably because it's a stupid-ass nickname.
I will not accept any sin regarding this scene.
You knew?
Yep, she knew all along and still decided to live by the sea. Look, lady, live by the sea if you have to, but the trade-off should be that you have to prepare your daughter for the fact that she will turn into a freaking kaiju in the extremely likely event that she will be wedded. How is she ever expecting to keep this secret from her?
You cut out the part earlier where Agatha explained that they needed to live by the ocean to stay moist. And she was expecting to keep the secret from Ruby by setting the rule that they can't go into the ocean.
If you stay on dry land, you'll stay small and on two legs.
Unless you're in a library, though, I guess. Or was that transformation an emotionally triggered release that Mom somehow knows nothing about? What are the rules?
Yes, the ocean does trigger the transformation, but it's not the only trigger. It can also be triggered by Ruby's emotional state, kind of like the Incredible Hulk.
is up with this floaty trophy room with defeated monsters? Are they dead and stuffed? Are they animatronic and sort of light up on cue when Discount Ursula points to them?
They're statues, probably ceramic or porcelain. They're meant to represent the sea monsters that have fought the Krakens for the throne.
Kraken ahoy! Hi! Fly me beauties!
Captain Ahab here is definitely being painted as the bad guy, but why? He's trying to rid the seas of a Kraken that he knows destroyed the library and has every reason to believe is a threat to the people of Oceanside. He is the good guy here, people.
He's not doing it to be a hero. He's doing it to prove that he was right about Krakens existing.
Because I'm a mother flippin' mermaid.
But why does she have the ability to grow legs? Why is the ocean creating these so very oddly specific monstrosities?
She has the ability to grow legs to be able to disguise herself as a human. It's probably also a reference to when Ariel got turned into a human in The Little Mermaid.
You need a Super Seagirl Ditch Day.
Okay, let's do it.
It is mere hours after her grandmother told her about how evil mermaids are and how her own mother fought in a war against them, and yet Ruby is ready to ditch school and become besties with the first mermaid she meets. She isn't conflicted for even a second.
I'll admit, I thought that this was weird at first too, but that same mermaid also saved her life. The movie never dwells on it, but she probably is reconsidering the validity of what her grandmother said.
This bread is fucking thick!
Jeremy has never heard of Texas toast.
I sacrificed everything to give you this fake life.
Expecting your child or anyone to be grateful for a sacrifice they didn't ask you to make.
But Ruby should be grateful, because right now she's arguing with her mother over a decision that she made for her well-being. I think that's a pretty valid reason for Agatha to be mad.
I fight for my family.
Skip!
That was a very important scene in the movie and you skipped over it.
I am Nerissa.
Surprise! Chelsea is evil. But holy gills, how did she come up with this plan so quickly? She either had all of this lined up and ready to go for the second Ruby fell in the water and made the call, or Ruby fell in the ocean and within seconds Chelsea came up with the secret identity and rolled at the school so she could make friends with Ruby, all in time to claim credit for rescuing Connor.
First, you misspelled Nerissa's name. And second, I'll probably have to explain Chelsea's plan in a future video, but I'm not surprised that she would be able to come up with this plan in the first place, because she's supposed to be deceptive like a siren.
Lucky for me, mermaids don't age.
Unluckily for you, that won't stop me from saying how f***ing convenient that happens to be for the purposes of your make everyone think I'm my own daughter plan.
It's not convenient. Because she says that this is an ability that mermaids have, she made her plan with that in mind. The real sin is that they changed this twist from the original storyboard version where Chelsea actually was Nerissa's daughter, but I have a whole video on that.
What happened?
DreamWorks decided to animate everything underwater with basically no lighting, so it's impossible to enjoy. That's what.
Okay, this I actually agree with, and it's a problem that plagued several earlier scenes too.
I could never understand why she chose to leave the ocean.
I've spent less than 80 minutes with you, dude, and I can already see why she left.
Agatha's choice to leave the ocean had nothing to do with Brill. It was to keep her family safe from the mermaids.
Got us a little mermaid, Davy!
But she's still super powerful, right? The trident was a powerful weapon, sure, but she's still a giant kaiju of a beast, so why did she suddenly transform back into a tiny mermaid? And if we're saying the trident makes her Hulk out, then why the heck didn't she shrink when she lost the trident earlier?
Assuming that the trident is the reason that she can attain her Titan mermaid form, there's probably a time delay for when she can be without the trident before shrinking back down.
The ocean will always need a Kraken, and a Kraken will always answer the call.
Unless poor word of mouth results in no one coming to see their movie, in which case the call will kind of just get forgotten about.
The reason the movie had poor word of mouth is because Universal barely advertised it. Also, a film's box office earnings should not be levied as an excuse to say that a movie is bad. Plenty of good movies have bombed too. So that was the video, and honestly, I was personally offended. CinemaSins skipped over a bunch of important explanations for character motivations and completely misunderstood them too. You may have noticed that I focused more on the plot important sins instead of any of the out-of-line sex jokes or little details like animation errors. I didn't want to spend time on the smaller sins that were just nitpicks about set design or jokes spun off from things that characters in the movie say. I could have been more humorous myself, but I didn't want to intrude on Birdman territory any more than I already was. Again, unless he covers CinemaSins' video, I might do this on a larger scale. I just have a lot on my plate right now with other video projects and the start of a new semester. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Were there any of CinemaSins' sins that you agreed with, or are you like me and were offended? With all that said, I hope that you enjoyed, have a nice day, and thank you for your time.